The most frustrating part about being a ranter is realizing that sometimes your biggest strength is also your biggest problem. You have too much to say. And I don't mean that in a I just talk forever kind of way. I mean that when I have an idea, I don't just want to make a 30-second video saying this character is good or this story is bad. I want to actually explain why. I want to talk about the writing choices, the themes, the symbolism, the character motivations, and why something works or doesn't work. I want to break down the deeper meaning behind something instead of just throwing out a surface level opinion and moving on, which is great for making interesting content, but absolutely terrible for trying to fit into the way social media works. Because the more I write, the more I realize my rants are basically becoming video essays. And video essays are a completely different beast. Making an edit and making a long form analysis video are two completely different skills. When I make an edit, the focus is usually the music, the visuals, the timing, and making individual moments hit. But with a video essay, the visuals have to support an argument. You're not just finding a cool scene. You're trying to find the exact clip that matches the point you're making. You have to think about what image represents this idea, what expression captures this emotion, what scene reinforces this theme, and how long the viewer can look at something before it becomes boring. People underestimate how difficult it is to make something visually interesting when the entire foundation of the video is someone talking. And then there's the biggest problem, the algorithm. Because platforms like short-form content, they want something quick, something people can understand instantly, something that gets to the point within a few seconds. But analysis doesn't work like that. A good argument needs context. A good character analysis needs examples. A good critique needs time to explain itself. You can't always summarize an entire idea about morality, character writing, or storytelling into 30 seconds without losing the exact thing that made the idea interesting. And that's where the frustration comes in. I'll spend hours writing a script, making sure every point connects, and suddenly, I realize it's thousands of characters long. Then I have to split it into multiple parts because the text-to-speech limit won't even allow the full thing. And even after splitting it up, there's still the problem of length. Because now the video is too long for shorts. So what do? Speed up the voice until it sounds like the narrator drank 5 energy drinks and got launched into space. And I hate doing that because it ruins the pacing. It makes something I spent hours carefully writing feel rushed. The worst part is knowing that I actually put effort into these scripts. I'm not just making random complaints, I'm trying to create something thoughtful. I'm trying to express an idea. But sometimes it feels like the platform punishes you for putting in more effort. A quick joke or a random clip can get thousands of views, while a carefully written analysis that took hours to make can get almost no response. And that's honestly one of the most discouraging things about creating content, because eventually you start asking yourself, why am I spending so much time making something nobody is going to watch? Especially when long-form videos are even more intimidating. I want to make longer video essays, I genuinely do, but the editing process is so much more complicated than people realize. Finding clips, creating visual flow, keeping the viewer engaged, making sure the pacing works, it's an entirely different world compared to making shorter edits. It's frustrating because I don't actually want to make my content shorter just because the algorithm prefers it. I don't want to remove my analysis. I don't want to cut out the parts where I explain my thoughts just to make something easier to consume. Because the entire reason I make these videos is because I have something to say. And sometimes having something to say is inconvenient. The internet rewards people who can summarize an opinion in a few seconds. But some ideas need more than that. Some stories need to be analyzed. Some characters need to be understood. Some discussions cannot fit into a minute. Maybe the problem isn't that my rants are too long. Maybe the problem is that I accidentally became a video essay creator in a world built around short-form content.